My occasional consumption of content from the diaspora at times leads to the discovery of very interesting topics. As of late, I've been hearing some individuals within our community make the claim that essentially traditional gender roles in the way we envision them today is not an African concept, and that it was imposed on us by European value systems. Today, let's determine if that's true. What up, African world? It's Homesy here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and contributing to this content. The link to Patreon is in the description box below. Also, stay tuned with a word from my sponsors.
Have you ever wanted to learn an African language? If so, keep watching. There are many ways to connect to different African cultures. Many do it through the enjoyment of the music, the dancing, and my personal favorite, the food. But when it comes to learning the languages, that can be a bit challenging. So, here we are. We here at Speak Afrique are trying to lay the groundwork to build that bridge with our new short phrases and vocabulary series. These are the seed projects to something much larger that we're building. We currently have languages such as Twi, Kikongo, Mandinka, Igbo, and many more will be added as time goes on. So, if you want to start your journey to connecting to Mama Africa, head over to Speak Afrique on iTunes or Amazon and let's start learning together. Ngiyabonga. Salami kahle.
To begin, this video will focus on the Yoruba concept of gender roles. Even though Africa is very diverse, most individuals who claim that traditional gender roles are un-African are speaking about our ancestors from West and Central Africa, the Yoruba perhaps being the most well-known among them. Surprisingly, I didn't have to search long to find information that countervailed the premise. This is not at all to say that the Yoruba case is true for the entire continent, but it can serve as a lesson to avoid absolute thinking regarding African culture, and more specifically, our ancestors. And that's the foundation of this video. It's better to avoid absolute statements when it comes to African people or culture. Acknowledging diversity amongst our ancestral pool is the rule. Let's begin. The Yoruba have in their culture what some may refer to as a religious text called the Ifa Corpus, or the Odu Ifa. The Odu Ifa was presumably transcribed from oral tradition. The Odu Ifa is the sacred text of the spiritual and ethical tradition of Ifa that has its origins in ancient Yoruba land, which is located in modern Nigeria. Moreover, Odu Ifa is one of the great sacred texts of the world and a classic of African and world literature. Like all great sacred texts, it includes a wide range of literary forms and subjects ranging from divination, art, literature, and medicine to history, spirituality, and moral instructions for daily life. While some consider it a religious text, as mentioned before, others consider it to be an encyclopedia containing ancient Yoruba wisdom and thought. The Odu Ifa is a good reflection of Yoruba belief systems and worldviews. It's a deep instantiation of their culture. Interestingly enough, the Odu Ifa speaks directly about gender roles. Some verses of the Odu Ifa highlight the importance of men and women working together and promotes the idea of mutual respect. Partnership and equality between men and women seem to be ordained by the divine. In Odu 248 verse 1, this stress on equality, partnership, and respect is reaffirmed. For in the narrative of creation, the male Orisha fail in their assignment to make the world good by not including the one female Orisha, Oshun, among them. When they return to heaven to report their failure, Olodumare asks them two questions. Where is the woman among you? And did you give her due respect? He then instructs them to go back and include her so that all their work will succeed, and it does. The divine instruction, to a degree, seems to be reflected in Yoruba society, as women have played some important political and economic roles throughout Yoruba land. Despite access to power for some Yoruba women, A woman's role in Yoruba society was not always harmonious. A deeper look into gender roles in Yoruba society reveals what scholar Sophie Oluwole calls paradoxes in Yoruba principles. Though some verses in the Odu Ifa evince equality and partnership between men and women, there are other verses that have a different tone, instructing how the gender roles should function in a marriage. The husband is the leader of the wife. This principle within the Odu Ifa is very direct and seemingly contradicts the earlier message of equality and partnership. Sophie Oluwole highlights this and simply asks questions concerning the apparent contradiction. Now, this is my personal observation and interpretation of the information. Do take caution with the following analysis. While women were granted respect and honor in Yoruba society, occasionally allowed positions of power and influence, it seems as though in direct relationship with Yoruba men, they were still seen as subservient. That one verse in the Odu Ifa proclaiming husbands are the leaders of their wives ostensibly held a lot of weight for the average Yoruba man. And because they were leaders in the home, they naturally became leaders in most avenues of society as well. According to Sophie Oluwole, any woman achieving power in Yoruba society was seen as taking on masculinity. In other words, leadership was intrinsically viewed as male or masculine. The point is that the majority of women were seen as playing more subservient roles than those played by most men. However, the ancient Yoruba never lost sight of the possibility that a few women may be masculine in achievement. Now, we still have to take caution because this interpretation of a paradox or contradiction in Yoruba society may not have been seen as such within Yoruba society. Perhaps a husband being a leader to the wife does not contradict the idea of equality or partnership, and it may not be appropriate to apply a Western standard. That's one way to look at it. Either position you choose to adopt holds weight. Though the Odu Ifa has some charitable takes on women's societal role within marriage, it seems quite traditional in a Western sense. The Odu Ifa seems to leave little to no room for any other interpretation with that one verse quoted previously. While other African groups may accommodate non-traditional attitudes, thereby affirming the original premise, I think the example of the Yoruba people say otherwise, proving in a rather direct way that traditional gender roles did indeed exist on the continent, and more specifically, amongst one of our ancestral traditions. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.